Welcome to another episode of Educating Homebuyers, the podcast. I'm your host, Brady Hay, and my mortgage team has over 9 years of mortgage experience here in Des Moines, Iowa. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, investing, or simply just curious about the market, this show is all about helping you and future homebuyers feel informed, educated, and comfortable as you take your next step. Each week, I sit down with real estate professionals, past clients, and local experts to unpack real stories, real advice, and what you actually need to know when buying a home today. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Today, I'm excited to sit down with a husband and wife duo who bring both expertise and personality to the real estate world. Together, they've built a reputation for making home buying and selling process not only successful, but enjoyable. Beyond real estate, they're deeply rooted in their community, passionate about helping families find the right place to call home. And in this conversation, we'll talk about what it's really like to work with a couple in real estate, how they balance life and business, and some strategies and stories that help shape their journey overall. Dustin and Allison, welcome to Educating Homebuyers.
Thank you, Brady. Thanks for having us today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Just jump right in and put you on the spot, but excited to have you guys share your story and just learn about your guys' team, your real estate career, and share some valuable tips for everybody listening. So
we're excited to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having us. And when we got the message that you wanted to have us on, we're like, sweet.
Yeah, I love it. So context for everybody listening, we had a transaction. We worked together, gosh, it seems like time flies, probably 90 to 120 days ago or so.
Yeah.
So that was how we first connected, had the opportunity to help represent a mutual client and had just an awesome experience. And I think that's, kind of from afar, from a third party, I'll tell you, like, that's what I learned about you guys quickly is like the emotion and the passion you put into your career. I was able to feel that from my side. And so I'm excited to hear how that continues to, throughout the rest of your clients you've helped and just, kind of shape your journey. So, excited to have the opportunity. Let's kind of start, I guess, just kind of give everybody a background. How did you get into real estate? What's your story as far as that kind of thing goes?
It's a story. It's a good one. But we'll summarize it quick because it's also a long story. But I would say that we met early in our 20s and we knew from then, even when we were dating, that we wanted to do something real estate related. It was just something that kind of had always stirred.
Did you meet
inside
in that, or just a coincidence that you both had interest in that?
Yeah, it was really just a coincidence. Mm-hmm. We both, I think it was real estate related, but we also both just had passion for wanting to go out and be entrepreneurs. Yeah. In a sense, and do something of our own. Was this in school? No, this was after school. Okay. We were both working. He was managing a restaurant. Okay. And I was doing my student teaching and finishing my teaching degree when we met.
So you have that education background?
Yeah, so I was in education.
And serving background with the restaurant industry? Okay.
That was what happened.
Okay.
I was her boss, and so she came in for
the man in charge. I love it.
Came in for an interview, and I said, "You're hired." So, and then
he fired me because he wanted to take me on a date. So luckily it worked out.
You weren't allowed to date an employee? Is that the background?
We just like,
didn't feel right?
We better just kind of keep this on the download. And
That's funny.
And I'm like, maybe you shouldn't work here no more.
So was it dating first or business partners first? Definitely dating first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she, I ran that steakhouse. I was there for 17 years.
Wow. Okay.
But early in our career, Allie she came on as a server, working, just got graduated from UNI. Yeah. In education. And so so that kind of how that all started. We were young 20s. Eventually got married. Yeah. And we always had this I guess the biggest thing is we've always been really great friends, but obviously, and which has been really easy. A lot of people ask, like, how are you working together? Yeah. Raising a family together, like doing all this together. Like, don't you kind of get sick of each other, a little bit? And so I know I don't, maybe she does. I
don't want to speak on her behalf, right?
But it's always been always a team effort from when we first met and just doing things together. And so we just really enjoy that. And we gravitated towards being an entrepreneur. We love the opportunities that kind of create. Yeah. And so we've done several different businesses along the way. Okay. Some multi-marketing or buzz marketing or whatever you want to call it. But sure. We did that. But then I was probably 37 years old. So a few years ago, I'm 46 now, but I knew in the career path that I was in with the restaurants, it just wasn't sustainable. Sure. Raising a family, starting having kids. We have 3 kids.
It's hard schedule wise.
nights and weekends.
I know firsthand, my parents actually owned a restaurant for 23 years.
Oh,
so
cool.
I knew, obviously mom and pop shop, a little bit more responsibility maybe than in a city, but still I very much understand how that industry can bog you down and how demanding it can be. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're dealing with people. We saw 40,000 plus people through there a year. And so you're on the call 24/7.
Yeah.
The funny part is now we're in real estate, which is
just
nights
as demanding.
We're back on call 24/7.
Just as demanding.
which is same demanding.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
So, but it was something that we've, towards the end there, we just knew like this, there was just something that it factor is like, what are we doing here? And so we started really looking into other ways to maybe different career paths. And Allie and I were always intrigued by real estate. We were always intrigued by.
What was your exposure at that point? Like, had you owned before, or like, what was your exposure to the industry, I guess?
I think I bought my first house when I was 21.
Okay.
And that kind of opened up a lot of opportunities because I had my brother and a couple friends, and we stacked them in there and got room.
It was a total bachelor pad.
Totally bachelor pad. But it was awesome. It was a $117,000 house.
Yeah.
And I remember because
you're probably making some profit on that deal.
It was awesome because I rented out each room was $400. And then I had about $400 in utilities, so we all paid $400. So it was
split it even.
It was like $800 was our mortgage, which is kind of a little different than today.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the house hack, before we even knew that was even a phrase. But I love that. I'm like, man, this is a really cool thing. And so we just and then Allison had her own house over in Beaverdale. And then we basically said, hey, we're going to get married, kick the guys out.
Yep.
She sold her house.
Moved in with you.
Us. And so that was our first, I guess, experience really with real estate.
Got it.
And seeing that whole process. We actually represented ourselves.
So you had your license at that point?
No, this is when I was 21, 22.
So no agents involved.
No agents involved. And so we did what you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Which is doing the for sale by owner.
Right.
So we were trying to figure
Was it an off-market property, or was it a for sale by owner and you just like reached out to them? Do you remember?
Mine was off market.
Okay.
Yep, hers was off market. Ours was, I can't recall. I think ours was, I'm not sure. Now
even more ironic though that you both did that because you weren't together at that point, right? When you both bought your own houses. Yeah. So it's interesting or ironic that both of your first houses were unrepresented. So,
and then we were there for like 10 years, and then we ended up selling ours, and we did ours for sale by owner. Sure. And I was like, man, this is fun, right? Yeah. So, and then we fast forward. So we sold that, bought a house in Grimes. That's where we live now. Got it. We've been there since 2015. Okay. And so we bought that one, and ironically enough, that was a for sale by owner. Huh. And so there's a funny story with that.
We saw a lot of the.
We've got time.
Yeah, well, that one was interesting because 2015 there was, unlike today, there wasn't that much inventory. In Grimes. Right. And Allison was, we were trying to figure out, that was when our kids were really little, and we were trying to figure out where we want to, end up.
Raise
we were
them.
West Des Moines. And so we were like, what are we going to do here? So we really wanted to be by an elementary. Okay. Walking distance. Hopefully not to be able to, be not able to walk across the street. So we want to be able to just go right to the school without going across the street. So there's some parameters: Johnston, Urbandale, Grimes. I think those were kind of our main towns that we were thinking for the school district. Yeah. And then we just were like, so we started going and really just driving around those neighborhoods, trying to find out where we wanted to start our family, essentially. And was able to find a home in Grimes, and there's a lot of cool things there with Blessing. You don't know what the path looks like, but it was one of those things where once life kind of continued, you realize
it's exactly where I meant to be.
It was where we were supposed to be. So I was actually just out knocking on doors asking if I could buy their house. Yeah. And there was one house that I
door knocking before we even knew that was a thing.
We weren't even licensed yet.
No. But so I went to this house and they did not answer, so I just left them a note and said.
So this wasn't like, you're talking, yes, it was for sale by owner, but it was not even a property that was for sale
at all at that point.
Wow.
Yeah, this was just a house. I'm like, that's really pretty.
Yeah.
It's close to the school. You never know. Yeah. If you don't ask, you never know. We still tell our clients that we're like, we'll go talk to anybody. Right. If there's a house you love, we'll go talk to them. Like, we're open to serving you however we can.
What a valuable point too, because I feel like in today's technological world that we're in, it's so easy to only fixate on the market, right, and what's available.
Yes.
All the more reason to talk to your trusted partner, meaning your real estate agent, and ask them what properties are available and get to the nitty gritty of where you want to be, because there may be opportunities that literally aren't online.
Yeah. You never know what's going on behind somebody's door.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of times people don't move always because of a house. They move because of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's happening in life. And in this situation, I left a note, and the gal called us that night and said, okay, this is going to sound crazy, but I just got home from work and I was offered my dream job today in California.
The day you left a note on her door.
And she goes, but
Wild.
I turned it down because I couldn't imagine uprooting my family and moving them to California. So she goes, I've just been, you know, crying the rest of the day because this is my dream. But I said no. And she goes, and then I got home and I saw your note on my door and I thought, we're going to move to California.
I have literal chills right now.
And so she was like, do you want to come see the house? And we said, yeah, can we come tonight? Like, we really want to see your house. She was like, yes, but it's messy. We're like, we don't care about that. Like, we don't look at that anyways. We just want to see the layout, the bones. Yeah. Yep. And so we went that night, and she had a couple little boys. So there was lots of boy stuff, and we had fun with it together, with her mess, and saw right through it because it was loved and lived in.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what a house should be.
Without a doubt.
And
they had pizza there.
Ooh.
And
they feed
we
you
got
too.
to have pizza together.
Are you still friends with them? Like, have you talked to them at all since?
We haven't talked to them
For a
I was just
while.
curious.
We did quite a
For a
bit
while there.
the first couple of years, and we
Wonder
need
if
to
they're
get
still in
back in touch
California.
with them. I know.
If you're watching this, maybe they'll see this viral clip, right?
Hopefully
That's awesome.
you reach out so we can talk. Yeah. Show them some pictures because we just did a bunch of updates too.
Yeah.
But so we ended up buying that house, and that became home shortly after that night, having pizza with them. And then we ended up realizing real quick that was where we were supposed to be. So that was 2015. We moved there in October. We decided to buy, let me think. So then the following year, so that was in like October 2015.
Okay.
Fast forward throughout that year, we were like, we really like this. It was fun buying and selling the house, having this experience. There was, of course, bumps because there wasn't an agent involved. So we saw that side of it too. Like, this would have been a lot easier if we would have had somebody representing everyone, even though everyone was cordial and got along. It still is easier when you have direct representation.
No doubt.
But we loved it. So we decided that next year to take a leap, and we bought a house to flip.
Okay.
And so that was in December of 2016. We bought a house to flip. Well, so then we had 2 mortgages. 2 weeks after that, we found out that our middle kiddo, who had been dealing with a lot of medical issues, was diagnosed as being deaf. And there was immediately hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical debt that we went into at that point in time. And so we had 2 mortgages, lots of medical debt, plus the time that we needed to put into working with him and helping him in those early stages of all that took us away from anything that was making money.
Right.
Also, and 2 weeks later, at the end of December, Dustin actually lost his job in the restaurant.
Wow.
And so we went from, we're going to do this, we're going to have a house to flip, to all of a sudden we're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt with 2 mortgages and no job. It was pretty low.
Yeah.
It was
Super low.
Right.
It was a hard time, but it's also one of those moments that completely changes the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
We know it was meant to be. At the time, we were like, why?
Right.
Why do we have to go through any of this? But now looking back, we're like, that was fully, I mean, my belief is that God was saying, hey, if you're not going to leap into real estate on your own and take these directions on your own, I'm going to force you.
Yeah.
Because this is what you're supposed to do, and this is what you guys are meant to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you take the leap because we're very faithful people, but it's hard to jump into something that's 100%, commission based when you're raising kids and having a family and then dealing with kiddos who had some extra, needs at that time too. it just was really hard to take the leap on our own. So he pushed us, and Dustin dove into flipping this house, and it ended up being a huge success. So really, we were thinking our life in real estate was going to be flipping houses and then selling them or renting them. And he did that. We did that for a few houses, and we kept having quite a bit of success from it. And he was learning. And
did you get your license during that flipping process, or you were just doing your flips on your own?
We bought the house. It was over in Altoona. We bought it for like $70,000, and it was crazy. We actually were able to get we went right to our bank that we had a relationship for 15 years, whatever, prior. And they actually just gave us the money, which is kind of wild. So they just gave us a loan. We borrowed money from my mom, 20 grand at first, and we put about 20,000 of our own cash into it, which was really hard because of what
everything else you're dealing with. Yeah.
And we were able to turn that, and we bought it for 70, put about 40,000 and sold it for 169 about 4 months later. Wow. And so we were able to make some really good money. But the more important than that, I think, in that 4 months was every day. Well, the demo was awesome because I was able to take out a lot of frustration. So let's say that.
Yeah.
But then just listening to music and just being in that space and just get my head right. So
I think it was very healing.
Very healing. And it was just, and so we were just, and I'm not a good contractor. I'm not, that's not what I need to be doing. My dad was a really good contractor. This guy was not. And so we hired a lot of subs, and we hired a good friend of ours named Kurt, who was our main contractor that pretty much did all the work, and I just helped him. And so, but we had a little bit of success, and it just sparked like, wait a minute, man, this is, and during that 4 months of healing, from emotional, spiritually, whatever, it was just like, okay, real estate once again allowed us this feeling of hope. Yeah. And so then we were able to go out and purchase another house over in Dallas Center, and with the intentions of maybe keeping it as a rental. And we did. We flipped that, bought it for $55,000, put about $50,000 into it, and we still have, in February of 2018, we signed our first lease. Wow. And we still have that rental today.
How cool.
And so we started to kind of continue to flip. We probably flipped 8 or so houses during that period. But what we found out was we gave everything to these houses. Along with my good friend Kurt, like we poured everything, and then we just sold it. Yeah. And there's like a part of you is like
going away.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like my little kid just left. It's like, oh my, because you work so hard on these properties, and it was gone. And it was like it was almost our job income. Yeah. And that's when we switched, and I wasn't very good at it, so I'm like, but this whole selling thing. Maybe be more, maybe listing, because we listed these flips with other agents. So we saw the value there, and that's when I decided to get my license. Got it. And so got my license through that process.
Really with the intention just to use it for
your own stuff,
for our own stuff at that point in time.
For sure. Yeah. We just thought that'd be, then I get access to MLS. Yeah. We would be able to, have more, access and kind of learn that part of it more for our own personal flipping. However, we started realizing we helped 2 of our good friends in the end of 2019 in December, buy, sell. So we had 4 transactions closed right around Christmas. Sure. And then that's when the light bulb hit. And I was like, Allie and I were like,
this could be bigger than that.
Wait a minute.
And he was like, that was really fun. Like
that
I really
was a blast.
Enjoyed it.
And it was really hard, but we had some great mentors. And I'll give a shout out to Andy Goodall with Goodall Properties. They were our broker. Great dude. He helped mentor and train us and through that whole process. And so through 2019 and then 2020 is when we really say, we're going to ramp things up. Mm-hmm.
So we ramped it up by me deciding to get my license. Okay. And then COVID hit.
Right.
So then we had, at that point, nobody knew, is the housing market going to crash?
That's what's funny about that. I remember that vividly. It's like, oh my goodness, this is going to be horrible.
Yes.
Is this career even going to be sustainable? And especially if you guys, so I was 3 years in at that point, and you guys were obviously just getting started, right? Yeah. And so you have to be thinking like, oh my goodness, this is going to ruin this whole industry. And then the polar opposite happened.
Yeah.
Like it went to, this is arguably the only industry that's still afloat. during COVID, right? Like,
yeah.
At least that's the perspective I had.
Yeah.
That's the way it felt for me. It's like, it seems like everything else is shut down, and real estate is the, like, it was just insane.
Yep.
Insane. Yeah.
Which
and we didn't really, I mean, that's the thing is like 2019, get into it. You only know what you know, right?
Yeah.
So you're and at that time it was still pretty, actually the market in 2019 is almost identical.
Pretty close.
To right now. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of bringing us full circle.
Yeah.
And because we were in it, and then all of a sudden this COVID thing happened, and look out, right? And so we're just thankful we had that couple of years to just prepare, I guess, for that craziness.
Right.
And then, so we were getting, to a point where I'm like, babe, you got to help. Like,
some help.
We need some help.
Not enough time.
And she was doing some of the marketing for us with social media. Mm-hmm. And that is not my strength.
Okay.
I need to stay in my own lane, and she kind of picked up that in our business, and so she was kind of doing it as I was licensed, like, hey, can you help? Mm-hmm. Well, it got to a point where people were starting asking her questions, and was really kind of, because she was putting out some great information. So I'm like, Al, I think it's time for you might need to get a license. And so she's like, okay. So she got her license, passes on the first time. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I'm like, did you even study? Like,
you found a good one.
Yeah, like, what the heck? Yeah. So she's like, yeah, I studied. I'm like,
I didn't even tell him I was taking the test.
Yeah, she's passed.
I'm just going to go take it and see what happens.
What the heck? So she gets going, gets her license, and so now we're kind of starting this whole, okay, this is starting to really kind of work well, together, and
mm-hmm.
And we were doing that right in our own community, right?
Yeah.
So right in there in Grimes, we always had this vision of being. We always had this vision because my parents had my dad was a self-employed contractor. My mom was she had her own salon. So I grew up in a very business owner mentality, right? Allison's, same thing with Allison's folks. John was a CPA, owned his own company.
Yeah.
Allison's mom, Sydney, she worked with like a social work and therapist. Yeah. So she kind of had her own business. So both of us kind of grew up in that.
Yeah.
And both parents had a presence within the community.
Yep.
Right. They were that piece of that pie, if you will.
Yeah.
And we always wanted to give back, especially because, going back to where we were, just moving there, and we mm-hmm. find out all this stuff with our son, and the school and the community. Just they didn't know us,
right?
And they just came around us and just
supported you in the best way.
Supported us,
and
we're like, dude, like this is cool.
Feel unworthy almost.
Yeah. And I'm like, we gotta figure out. I'm like, how can we figure out a way? And Allie's like, how do we figure out a way to really give back to the community and in a way that's really beneficial? And so we've always been about people and community. And so we were like, man, how cool would be this vision of, man, how cool would it be to have this presence within Grimes so we can give back, doing our little part. Maybe it's real estate, maybe it's mm-hmm. helping people buy and sell, and just being that team, for our community and be able to help, because it's a big deal. And because one thing for certain with real estate, people I don't think understand it, and we didn't, is I think a lot of people look at real estate and they think this glamour, like it's just, everyone's, we take these, and we still do, we take photos of people at the end, give them the keys and everyone's happy, and,
right.
And everyone sees that. Mm-hmm. But there's
nobody wants to post the bad stuff, do they?
They don't want to post the bad stuff, right? And so there's that side of it, right? There's a lot of times people aren't moving because they want to.
Right.
People aren't moving because it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
We work with people. Now, granted, we love that.
Yeah. And it happens.
And that happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Which is fantastic. But a lot of times, you're working with people that are going through some really tough times. Mm-hmm. And challenging times, and things that are maybe they're forced to from maybe it's divorce, maybe it's death, mm-hmm. maybe it's job location where they're kind of which could be a positive thing or a negative thing. Maybe it's just maybe it's they lost a job, right? So therefore they aren't able to maybe financially afford. There's all kinds of these things out there. Debt. Maybe they're in a position where they have too much debt on a monthly basis, and they just have to have that relief.
Yeah.
And maybe their way is maybe selling their house, pulling out the equity, and just have maybe a new fresh start, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
One thing we realized was like, that is the part that I think we've learned to just embrace and
lean into
because I think a lot of people don't realize, like, because you're at a very vulnerable position, people are, and they have to trust somebody.
Yeah.
Because in order for, like, especially in mortgages, man, I mean, like, they're giving
we got everything.
You got the financials, right?
Yep. We look at everything.
And financials is private, right? It's personal, it's private. So for you especially, I mean, here's the open up the curtains, right?
Right.
So for us, it's like that, maybe not to the degree of what you're doing.
But you learn a lot too on your side. So,
but it's you gotta, they have to trust, they have to feel good about that person.
Well, they're opening up their lives to us during a really raw time.
Right. Regardless of whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah. It could be super exciting, or it could be.
I think a lot of those stories come out of the woodworks during a market like what we're in right now too. It seems like, the people that are moving in today's real estate market aren't necessarily moving because they want to. It's mostly because they either have to or something changes. And that's the thing that I always remind myself too, is it's the things that, that push me and wake me up every day to keep me going, is because I know that the people that are, looking to make a transition right now, they need us, and they need their guidance, and they need us to lean in. It's not just a transaction, right? And we want to make sure that amidst all this chaos, whatever it is that they're battling, we want to be the soft spot that can help them guide through it.
Yep.
So
absolutely,
it's interesting how it really kind of comes out in a quote unquote negative market, right? It seems like everybody's painting a negative picture around today's real estate market, and I really don't think that's the truth. I think there's still a lot of activity. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on, just kind of what you're seeing, but I think that there's still a lot of people that are making transitions in today's market too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're seeing it. I think that this market is, I think you hit it right on the head. It's life, right? So everyone has life, and that doesn't stop.
Yep.
And so things are always transitioning for people. And, I think now there are certain, situations where there are things that push it in a way that's, interest rates dropping, or interest rates going up.
Yep.
That kind of push the market one way or the other. But for the most part, people are still, even in that scenario, they're still needing to.
There's people that have to move.
Buy and sell.
And there's ways to do it that can still be of benefit financially, right? Like, I feel like, again, the rates always get that negative stigma, but I've had many examples this year where, maybe the reason that they're looking to move, example, had a past client of mine that had a kid, right? And so they wanted some more space. Totally respect that. They bought their original home in 2018, wanted some additional space. Well, after having a consultation with me, we discovered that the amount of equity they'd gained was able to wipe out some other debt they've claimed. And, we were not only able to get them more space for their family, but completely wipe out that debt and give them a fresh start. We ended up saving them money monthly, despite them buying a bigger house and doubling their interest rate.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it just takes like creative things like that, that people like us will help kind of diagnose what does your situation look like, and what are you looking to accomplish here, because we can help make this a reality for you.
And I love that, because I feel like in all the time, but in this market especially, like, we're the first to tell people, like, maybe this is a good time for you to move, and maybe it's not.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah, and we're not going to push you one way or the other. Like, let's sit down and seriously look at your situation.
Yep.
And what you have on the table, and what all all of those game pieces you can move, and figure out, is this the best scenario for you, or maybe we wait it out.
Right. And how many conversations have we had, and it leans towards that second option, right? It's like, hey, we just talked about this. You're in a good position right now. Your payment's low. You're not really changing jobs. There's nothing really changing in your life. Your payment would double if you moved, and that's okay. Like, don't feel like you have to move. But on the flip side, maybe with one or two little tweaks of how we structure things, we can say, well, let's make this a reality for you. So it just, again, it's so case by case, and I think you guys have done such a great job creating an approachable brand, right? And I think that's the way I want to paint myself too, is I want people to feel confident and comfortable to reach out to me if they ever have questions or it even pops into their mind.
Yeah.
And I think you guys have done a great job on your side doing that as well. So
thank you. Yeah. I mean, people is our motivation.
Yeah. Well, and it was so apparent to me, and it's cool because we've only worked together once, right? But like I was so able in one client to be able to feel the heart behind the business you guys have built. And like that was like I'll tell you, I obviously work with a bunch of real estate agents over the years of my career. I've been doing this almost 10 years, but like it's rare to find that caring approach that you guys have taken. So I have to give you a testament for doing that, because you do it for the right reasons, right? And that's what I was attracted to with your business, is you do it for those people. So,
well, I think a lot of that is, we were there like in a rough spot and saw people that came out from different areas of expertise to help us. And that's kind of what we look at, like with our community, is to form a community, you have to have people with all different strengths and all different areas of expertise who come together to build a community. Yeah. You got to have somebody who's really good on cars. You have to have somebody who's a great doctor. You have to have somebody who you can trust for mortgages. Like, you need all of these moving parts to make a community function.
Good coffee.
Yeah, that's
good coffee.
The vital aspect. Shout out Northern Vessel.
Yes.
Northern Vessel needs to sponsor the podcast. Subtle plug.
Everybody has a role.
Yeah.
Right? And it's kind of like, what is your strength and what is your role to make that community function? Yeah. And we just felt like one thing we could do to give back was be experts in real estate to help people through all these decisions.
How do you balance that with being so heavily involved in your community and wanting to give back to them, with also an incredibly successful career and being husband and wife and running a family? Like, there's a lot on your guys' plate. How do you balance something like that?
It's a work in progress every day.
I don't. We don't.
Prayer.
Yeah. That's cool though.
I think a lot of calendar planning, but it's also, in all honesty, outside of the things that I could say with calendar planning, time blocking, organization, it really comes down to grace. Yeah. And giving everybody, giving ourselves grace, giving our kids grace, giving those we work with grace in different situations, and I think when it comes to balancing community and work, like, to us, it's kind of all one. Yeah. Like, it's a big functioning.
It's all the same.
Yeah. It's all the same. Like, we're helping
how cool
anytime
is that
we
that
can.
Your career doesn't really have to be viewed as a career, right? Like, obviously it is work, but like, I feel that way personally about my career, is like, I wake up every day and I don't ever burden going to the office, because it's like, I'm just making an impact, and this is just a part of my life. And, it kind of flows together, right? And I'm sure you guys feel very similarly of that, is, the people you're representing are probably people that you went to dinner with a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's exactly right. It's just a combined, aspect, and it just so happens that you may get paid at the end of helping them, right? Yep. Like, it's really that simple. But I think that the important piece that I learned, this was, I don't know how long ago that I kind of made this realization or allowed myself to do this. I think it was when things were really busy during COVID, but I allowed myself, like you said, to give myself grace and realized that people are okay if you don't have time this very second, right? And they understand that not only are you a human, but you're also really busy people. And so if you say like, hey, yes, I want to help you with that, can I give you a call tomorrow at 10 instead of call you in 10 minutes? Because I felt like early in my career when I first was started, it was so important to get every opportunity you possibly could and get it immediately. Like, speed to lead was always something that I was trained on. Yeah. And, I still want to make sure that I answer quickly. I don't ever want to be the guy that's like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a week. What's up with that? But on the flip side, understanding that like, hey, if I'm filming a podcast right now, I don't need to answer a text message if a client messaged me during this episode, right? Like, you can give yourself grace to understand that it's okay if you respond later. And frankly, the busier you are, the more involved you are, the more stuff you have going on, the better of an expert you become for the people that you have to help, right? And that was a hard thing for me to realize, because like, again, you just want to be instant, right? I've always been of the fan of like, I want instant gratification. And so I wanted to give that to my clients, but also understanding that like, you don't need to pack everything into this very second. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Talking about kind of going back to the market in helping people right now with
what's some advice?
Buying and selling. Yeah, with buying and selling. I think, I think everybody I think whether you're looking to buy in 2 months or in 6 months or a year, I think that first initial, whatever it is having that conversation, right? This is all about having conversations. Yeah. And the more conversations, more knowledge, the more confidence, the more exciting the process is. I think when you don't have that information, you don't have that knowledge, that's when it becomes, scary, or you don't know what to do. Yeah. But getting people around you that can embrace it and just, allow them to help you, I think is so important. And I found we love to sit down, whether it be a buyer's consultation or listing presentation or whatever it is, and just talk, right? Yeah. And have that conversation and hear people out. Just hear them out, man. Yeah. Just figure out what their needs are and do everything you can to help them, right? At where they're at, and just be able to answer those questions. And I just loved, walking out of those appointments, and you can just tell, the demeanor on people's, on their face, or just their body language, like they're just like, they can almost take a breath, like, I think everything's going to be good, right? Everything's going to be, because whether you're selling, where you're buying, I think there's opportunities in every single market. Without a doubt. Every single market, you can find good in every single market whenever you're helping people buy or sell. Yeah. I really believe that. Okay, so summer into fall of 2025, what is kind of a two-sided question, but what's your tone that you're setting with clients as far as like expectations they can expect? And also, what would you say, what sort of like feedback are you hearing from people like after you have those conversations, right? So they reach out and say, hey, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about buying a house. After you educate them on what they would maybe face in today's world, what's kind of that tone you're hearing? Are people in that waiting stage still, or are you seeing people like wanting to pop into it right away? What's kind of... I think the buyers, I think let's just speak to buyers. I think buyers are, once you have that information, you give that information to them, and we explain to them how we can assist, right? And what that looks like in terms of helping them set up their own like search portal, right? Yeah. So they have their own properties that are immediately coming to them, or ideas like Ali mentioned, like, hey, if you have an area that you really want to live in, a neighborhood, whatever, let's talk. If we need to go, make some introductions and go talk to people. You've clearly proven that knocking on doors works. We like people, right? And it's kind of fun because then you can meet a lot of people. Yeah. New people. So we're, there's nothing off the table, right? I think people put limitations on what could potentially be, and really it's just like, let's explore it. Let's find out. Let's see what can happen. If you really know, hey, this is a neighborhood I want to be in, that's easy. Do you find that's more common, or like are people more open to location and they want specific things about a house? Like, what would you say? I think a lot of people, I think there's some people that, hey, we need to be in this school district, sure, or hey, we want to be in this town, or but a lot of people, it seems like lately, been open. Yeah, I think they're willing to go this way or that way, or go to different communities. I feel like we're fortunate in Des Moines. A lot of there's so many great communities. Yeah. And so I think it's just kind of letting them know that. I think just giving them permission to know it's going to be okay. If you really want this to work, we're going to find a really good solution for you. Yeah. And we're going to put a plan together, and it might not happen tomorrow. Right. But it will happen. But it can happen tomorrow too. And it can happen tomorrow. Yeah. Could go either way. Being prepared, whether it's tomorrow or, like you said, 24 months down the road. Yeah. Here to help navigate that regardless. And it's just being prepared. And so our biggest thing is, the worst thing is waiting, because let's say for example, we go out there and we start showing houses, and that's one of the things we love doing. Just let's get into some homes. Yep. Let's have some conversation about what you like, what you don't like, and just let's start taking some action towards it. Because when you do find that right house, then right? Then I always think it's funny. I had this has obviously happened many times over my career, but so often, and this maybe is not as often in today's market, but it used to be when things were really competitive. I'd have a client that they'd write an offer on a property and then miss out on it, right? Whether it was didn't come to terms or somebody else had a better offer or whatever it is. And I always have to encourage my people and remind them, like, I can tell you confidently over the 9.5, 10 years I've been doing this, I've never had somebody eventually get into their house and say, oh man, this one stinks. I wish I would have gotten that other one. Yep. Like, it always is like, no, I'm so glad I didn't get that last one because this one's perfect. Yes. It always works out. It does, and like, listen, there's little nuances that maybe you would have liked better. You'll never really know. But the thing I always encourage them is, like, if it's meant to be, it is meant to be, and it will work out
in the right timing.
Yep.
So it's just been kind of fun to see how that plays out, and it happens so often, I feel like.
It does. Yeah. So. That's what we always tell people too. Just today's a bad day because you didn't get it or whatever the case might be, but let's move forward. And by the time they end up at the closing table with a different house, they know exactly why.
Well, they'll find 15 other things that they loved about this one that other one didn't have.
For sure.
Right? And like that's...
And then they're like, I'm so glad that first one didn't work out.
It's hard to see that in the moment. Yeah. Like as you guys very well know, it's like if you get bad news in this industry, it's so hard to kind of work through that. But I always can encourage people, it will work out.
Yeah.
So, so community obviously has been a big highlight that we've talked about throughout this. Not even necessarily location wise, but Grimes is where you call home. What's, I guess, anything specific that you guys have fallen in love with about that community or just Des Moines in general? Talk about the Des Moines area as a whole. Anything that you guys really have fallen in love with?
Personally, I feel like, so we're kind of funny as a married couple, especially working together. Like we both have our strengths, but we're also very different. And which is why we're a good team. Yeah. Because we can, we walk into a property and Dustin sees cracks in the foundation, potential mold here, this countertop has a dent, and I walk in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the hardware. Look at these finishes. Like we just, our eyes go to
different things
immediately. So it's great for our clients because they have the balance of both. But I would say in regards to the Des Moines community, I feel like there's so many great options no matter what somebody's looking for or what they need. Yeah. It's there. Mm-hmm. You can be in a city environment, more of an urban environment. You can go more rural. Yeah. You can find a great, solid, single-family home, or you can find something that has a lot of land with a pool. Yeah. I mean, there's
within 15 minutes of each other.
Yeah, and everything is within 15 minutes.
You know, it's funny, when I first moved to Des Moines, my parents, so I'm from small town Iowa, context for you guys, about 2 hours from Des Moines. Well, when I first moved to Des Moines and started to give my family some more exposure to the city, they always joked like, well, let's go here or let's go here. And she said, how far is that? I said, 15 minutes. Right. Everything is 15 minutes from anything. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter. Now, obviously, give or take a few minutes here or there. But I always joked, like, you can get anywhere in town in 15 minutes, whether you want to go to the store or whether you want to go to a restaurant or whether you want to go to, wherever it is. Like, that was always kind of a joke amidst our family because it really does have everything you need.
It does.
And I feel spoiled, frankly. Like, as a kid who grew up in a town of 800 people where we had a gas station, and that was like, and we had a small town grocery store, but that was it. Yeah. Like, you didn't have anything else. Mm-hmm. So now that I've got access to all these restaurants, all these grocery stores, all the malls, all the store, whatever you could possibly want, Des Moines has without feeling like it's an overwhelming metropolis of this city, right? That's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's like, where else do you find that? Yeah. That you can be in a 15-mile range and have virtually any kind of housing that you want to have. Or we have a lot of people that come to us and they're trying to figure out where to put their money right now, with investing. And we're like, well, we can help you with real estate investing. And there's opportunity for that in pretty much every community. Like it seems like the sky's the limit in the Des Moines metro area with whatever somebody's real estate goals are. Yep. It can be found.
And it's a fairly protected market too. I think that's fair to say, right?
Absolutely.
Like, we're not going to see major swings one way or another, right? From high of highs and lows of lows. Obviously, there are ebbs and flows in every real estate market, but I feel like Des Moines is a very protected area. Our employment here is great. We've got a ton of great employers that, give job opportunities for people. So if you're an out-of-state client that's looking to relocate, I think we'll be arguably the biggest advocates for Des Moines, Iowa. It's an incredible place to raise a family. So
I think from a financial standpoint, I think real estate can do a lot for people, but one major advantage is obviously the financial aspect of it, building equity. Most people retire. What's their retirement?
Right.
Their home, right? Mm-hmm. Their real estate that they've been paying for years. And so that's one other aspect of it. With that rental property we bought, our first one in 2018, that one just kind of sparked us to kind of continue to build that for our family, right? That passive income, trying to build a portfolio that would basically be able to, that we could pass down to our kids and or have our kids help us with, teach them, how to do things with rental properties so that, because I think it's a great way to help, whatever it be. When we first got started, one of the things, we bought several properties and I'm like, well, there's college for Trey and there's a college for Trevor, and so I'm like, but you gotta, I'm telling my boys like, hey, you gotta help us.
Put the work in. This is yours.
This is yours,
Which, what a cool, like, responsibility piece that you can help with, raising your kids and giving them that, that edge of, or that itch of the entrepreneurship that your parents passed down, right? Like, that's probably the heart behind that. So
absolutely. And I think in, looking at it and just being able to teach them and train them on what this looks like. And it takes work, man. It takes hard work to do anything, that's worthwhile. But this is another avenue, right, for us. And so we've accumulated, and when we started doing it, one of the biggest thing is, for us to be able to teach it, we gotta know it, right? Yeah. So we're like, well, I want to, because I'm an investor type person. I'm like, you know what? I want to be able to know how to do this so I can teach it. So if anybody else comes, I can show them what not to do and learn from my mistakes, right? And so we accumulated, like we have a 6-plex, a 5-plex, 4-plex, duplex. The only thing we have singles, we have houses, we have garages. The only thing we don't have is a triplex.
Okay.
And I don't have like a full flush.
Anybody watching this, if you own a triplex and want to sell, these guys are in the market.
That's it. The triplex is all we're needing, and a 7-plex. But we
Brady, honestly, we're going to need financing for that.
Right. Happy to help. We can do up to 4 units.
There you go. Yeah, you qualify. Perfect.
I love it.
But we really did that for the purpose of, as we got it, like now,
you're better equipped to help your clients.
We're knowledgeable in that area, which is kind of cool.
Do you find that a lot of your clients reach out about investing in that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's, I mean, we have quite a few, we primarily, help people buy and sell, but absolutely. That's another avenue that we certainly explore and help people with. We have a lot of folks that reach out to us and talk about that. I
think an underserved market too is syndications. Have you ever messed around with syndications at all? Or do you like just doing your own stuff?
We just do mainly our own stuff. Yeah. We did participate into purchasing a 57-plex up in Boone. Mm-hmm. We were part of several investors that did that, and they kind of brought us on more as just, hey, can you help us through this process? Sure. And that was large multi-unit. Yep. Pretty intimidating. It was a lot different than single family or smaller multi-unit, but what an experience, right? And there's pros and cons. And once again, we really wanted to be a part of that to learn. Mm-hmm. And what an education, right? Yeah. And so I think everything that we're trying to do is, we don't have all the answers, but man, we're eager to learn and try to help and ultimately learn for ourselves, but also learn for our clients.
Without a doubt.
And help them. Yep. Because man, there's so many cool things, but helping a client and having success with that and just how they're so excited, right? Yeah. They're so excited when they have a little bit of success with that. And whether it be buying or selling or investing in real estate, like just being a part of that's so cool and rewarding. And that's why we, when you see those smiles and it's like,
or building when they start digging all the way through. Yeah. Being able to close.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Building. Yeah. We're helping people build too. And so, just that whole process of the goods and the bads, but all the way through. But
again, it roots back to the people and their emotion behind it. Yep. Not, you don't get, I don't want to say no, but it's not like you wake up every morning and be like, man, I can't wait to go pick out countertops for my client's new build, right? But you get excited about the story of their transition. And
I get excited about seeing their eyes light up when they pick out their countertop.
Exactly, right? It's like, there's just like the authentic desire to help good people chase their dreams, right? And that's the every day I wake up feeling so fortunate that we have the opportunity to help them navigate that. And it is a complex process, right? We don't want to downplay how complex buying and selling real estate can be, but we want you to know that we embrace ourselves and immerse ourselves in this industry so that we can help you navigate it and make it seem like it's the easiest thing somebody's ever done, right? Like that's the best compliment to me at the end of the transaction is like, wow, Brady, that was so easy. I didn't do anything. Like that's like the service that I desire for my clients to feel. It's like, man, I want this to feel really, really easy because there's a lot of people that don't get that experience. Yeah. Right. They get that complex, man, I didn't hear from that guy in forever and all the negative things that can come along with it. Like you said, that don't get highlighted. Right. Yeah. And I think that's my big passion behind it, right? Is to make the process seem like as easy as possible, right? So when a client comes to us, my hope is that they feel this entire process that we went through was so simple that they're willing to like just scream that on top of a mountain, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like you said, it's hard for us to highlight the bad parts, but my hope is that we don't have any of those, and we can just make it as smooth as we possibly can throughout, from the very beginning, so that at the end they're like, man, this was so simple. Everybody needs to call these guys to buy their house, right? Like, because that's the heart behind it, and you don't want to highlight all that negative stuff, because there are challenges that you can help people navigate, but as long as we take care of the upfront work and make sure everything's simple, it's pretty straightforward. So.
Well, and I think just to your point, the transaction that we had recently that was together, one of the comments that client made was that she knew there was stuff happening, but I can't remember the exact analogy, but it was similar to like, a duck on the water, where like as far as she knew, most times things were going smoothly, even though behind the scenes we're all like,
correct. Yep.
But what we tell clients all the time, and told her, is like, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we show you this bubble chart of all the steps, but you don't actually have to worry about any of that. That's for Brady to take care of and for us to take care of.
Why do you think we don't tell anybody about like title processing?
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a lot that happens when it comes to clearing a title on a property, but we just let that happen behind the scenes. We've got people in place, and even arguably like underwriting and processing from a mortgage standpoint. My team that we've built to handle that stuff is fantastic, and they take care of that. And from a client standpoint, we just give them updates, as things checkpoint throughout the process, and just let it happen behind the scenes. So
so it should
our hope is that it feels simple, right? It's
exactly.
like, man, this was so great and so easy. Like, and I will say there's a lot of people that don't have that experience. And our hope is that if you come and trust us, that we can make it that simple.
Will. Right.
So
absolutely.
I love it. We'll love to just like, I guess, before we just kind of wrap up, I guess, is there anything else that you feel called to just like bring to the table, or is there anything else, and don't feel like you have to, but that anything valuable that you would want to share before we wrap up? Is there anything else that you feel inclined to share, I guess? And if the answer is no, that's totally okay.
No, I think, well, first off, appreciate you having us on. I think, as we're asking or answering questions, and as we're, talking on here, we'll probably go back and watch the episode and go, oh my gosh,
I wish I would have said that.
Yeah, dropped the ball there.
Right.
So hopefully when it vomits so
what's
bad
funny is I've gotten
back.
feedback from everybody that I've had on so far. It's like, oh, I'm so self-conscious. I didn't mean to say that. Or like, the thing I'll tell you, obviously we've been doing this long enough where we kind of know what we're talking about. And at the end of the day, my hope is that people can see this and just know that we're human beings, right?
Yeah,
There's flaws and things that come out of our mouths, but there's also a lot of positives that come out too. And what I'll tell you is that the exposure and the opportunity that this will create, my hope is that people will see this and be like, man, these people just care, right? And like, we just want to be a resource. And I'm confident that us posting the long form and the reels and everything else that goes along with this platform, it'll help create a bigger community for you guys. That's my heart behind it, and why I love doing this is again, I've said it on other episodes, but like, I don't do this to create a spotlight for me, right? Like, I don't like, frankly, having a highlight on me, but I want to build a bigger community of people that I can help. And I know that you guys have done the same. And my hope is that it can just be a conglomerate of just good people connecting with good people. Right. Yeah. And my hope is that people are gaining value by watching it, right? Like, hopefully you send this to your database and they're like, man, I really learned something on this. And it turns and churns, even if it's simply as not necessarily generating a transaction for you guys, but it's as simple as just generating a conversation.
Yeah.
That's what my hope is. And I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to connect with good people and know that, frankly, our industry and our market are getting served by other people that are doing it the right way, which is fantastic.
Right. So I think that's one thing, that I would want to make sure home buyers or future home buyers know and understand is exactly what you said. Like, you're a resource.
Yeah.
We're a resource. Yes, we're busy. Yes, there's a lot going on, but that's what we're here for.
Yep.
Like, we want you to come to us and ask questions. So oftentimes we have people that are like, well, I'm wondering about buying a house, but I don't think I'll be doing it for a year. So should I just call you like next summer?
Yeah.
We're like, no.
Call us now.
Let's sit down. Like, that process can start right now.
Yep.
And especially with the lending side.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things that can happen between now and
Without
when you
a doubt.
actually go to put offer in on a home. that a lender can be doing.
Yeah, and help make it a better experience, right? Like the amount of times I've had a conversation with somebody about finances and find out like, hey, you've got one credit card that has a balance on it. If we pay that off, your credit score could go up by 40 points. And then we can talk through that if we have time, right? Yep. It's not like, hey, I'm trying to get pre-approved right now. I can give that advice now, allow it to season itself after you pay it down or pay it off. And then in 6 months, when we go to tackle this process, now your credit score is higher.
You're ready to roll.
You get a better loan term. You get a better payment, like everything else that we strive for. So it just helps kind of preparing in advance.
Yeah.
So that's a great point.
Yeah. I think come to us. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
Answer questions.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Seems like a great time to plug it. How would you prefer anybody watching this get a hold of you guys? Email, text, DM, call? What's your preferred contact method?
I'm a simpleton, so I just call me.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'm more of a conversation guy. Like, let's just get on the phone, whether it be text message or call.
Yeah.
I think that we're all, as long as we get it connected, I think it's good. But we try
if you want a DM or email, then
contact her.
I got you.
That's funny.
Phone call me, everything else go through her.
I love it. Well, I'll be sure to link all of your guys' stuff below, whether it's socials, phone numbers, emails, everything. I want to make sure that anybody watching this, if you feel inclined to reach out to these guys, even just as simple as just like, hey, thanks for being a resource. Like, I love that feedback, and would love for everybody watching to do that as well. But thank you guys so much for taking time out of your crazy schedules that you've already, made very clear. But just, again, thankful for the connection, thankful for the opportunity to share your knowledge, and appreciate everybody tuning in. This has been another episode. If you guys have any questions or want to reach out to these guys, be sure to do it in the comments below. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.